As consumers worldwide buy more clothes, the growing market for cheap items and new styles is taking a toll on the environment. On average, people bought 60% more garments in 2014 than they did in the year 2000. Fashion production makes up 10% of humanity's carbon emissions, dries up water sources, and pollutes rivers and streams. What's more, 85% of all textiles go to the dump each year. Some apparel companies are starting to buck these trends by creating initiatives to cut back on textile pollution and grow cotton more sustainably. Marcus Luft and his wife Laura Power launched Fem Apparel in 2019 in Thunder Bay, Ontario. The couple aims through their company to bring attention to issues around gender disparity. Marcus and Laura join us to discuss their collection and unique approach to sustainable innovation and solutions. Marcus and Laura, welcome to The Feminist Perspective.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Let's begin. What was the inspiration behind Fem Apparel? What are some of the issues that defined and ultimately shaped the messaging of the collection?
The starting inspiration was just to address gender disparity in the workplace. Because we feel that that conversation should have already taken place before a woman comes to, talk about a project development or before negotiating wage or a promotion. That should already be on the table, but it's not. That's sort of the most inopportune time for that conversation to take place. And so we were trying to come up with a way to just put it on the table in the forefront, and also just to have it be sort of non-confrontational and safe. And so we were thinking, with a t-shirt. But ultimately, this idea has grown to be something bigger, because, putting a slogan on a t-shirt, it opens the door to a huge conversation, not just about gender disparity in the workforce, but all of the things that contribute to lead to that initial problem.
Now, how did FEM's responsible social engagement approach inform designs and aesthetics for this collection?
When we were kicking around the idea, the easiest way really to start with that would be with a t-shirt, right? I mean, it's a very universal piece of clothing. You can wear it for pretty much any occasion. And by putting messaging on a t-shirt, it's just very sort of upfront and obvious what it is that you're trying to convey.
And so we just tried to pick something that would open the door for conversation and something that wasn't too divisive. We want to be inclusive. We want to have a safe place for conversation. And so that's just what we started.
Now, would you share some of FEM's key technologies that differentiated in the apparel market?
We're trying to be very mindful about sustainability. We're sourcing from a Canadian designer because, or a Canadian company, I guess, because we're, being local. But ultimately, at this point, we're looking at sourcing from other places, potentially internationally. We're using models like, companies like Everlane who source from internationally, but in a very sustainable and mindful way. And that sort of ties into the overall theme of female empowerment, because we know that if you're promoting companies and you're promoting technology that is green, sustainable, you're not only promoting things that are good for the environment, but often the people who benefit are women who work in these factories and women who are creating these and collecting these raw ingredients. So ultimately, that's going to be our mission.
How would you describe the current sustainability landscape in apparel? Has the market evolved, and what is your brand doing a little bit differently?
What we're really trying to focus on as we move forward and as we source different suppliers is to ensure that there is an environmental initiative and that there is also an initiative where their female employees are not taken advantage of and are actually provided adequate pay and a safe working environment so that they can further their own empowerment and lives through their jobs. And so it's a challenge, right? Especially when you're just starting and like the world's a big place and there's a lot of different things that you have to try to learn in a very quick period of time. But you do start to see trends pretty quickly, and you just have to kind of learn what questions to ask. sense.
Yeah.
And then just in the long term, I mean, like we are picking products that are durable, right? Like we don't want, and I think overall fashion is moving towards, not the disposable fashions that were in the past, and so we want our t-shirts to last a long time. Just on a very basic level, and so the quality of our products is really important to us as well.
Yeah, and so we do, like when we launched these, we did testing, right? So we got samples and we wore them, and every time we did laundry, be it towels or kids' clothes, throw them in, right? Let's get as many cycles as we can run through, and let's see how they last, because we don't want to be part of the problem where an item fades or falls apart after 10 washes and you have to buy a new one. I mean, sure, it's great, maybe you'll come back and buy something, but from a socially responsible standpoint, that's not what we wanted to achieve.
Marcus and Laura, thanks so much for taking the time to be on The Feminist Perspective. We appreciate your views and thank you for sharing them.
Thanks for having us. It's been a great opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we love what you guys are doing as well. So we're very happy to have been a part of your show. Thank you.